When looking at this beautiful empty field, most of you probably just see that, an empty field. But what I see is a canvas ready for us to paint. I absolutely love franchise mode in Planet Zoo. It combines genuine business decisions with a lot of strategic management capabilities. But sometimes you want to lay back and create something truly epic, and that's what Sandbox mode is for. I'm really excited to try out Sandbox mode. This is actually my first time even booting up a Sandbox world. Let's get into it and see what we can do. I wanted to start off with something really small, but something that makes a striking first impression. I've never attempted to make my own custom entrance before, so we actually did that first. To do this, I added some paths without the curb on the ground, took some limestone, recolored it a little bit to match a little concrete look, and placed it slightly above the path to where you can only see it. After that, I realized that we needed some support structures, but I didn't really like any of the ones that came with the game, so I took these roof tiles made of vertical planks, rotated them 90 degrees, and then made squares out of them. I changed the color too to make it look a little bit more formidable and sturdy. It contrasts really well with the rest of the build that you'll obviously see later, but for now, just know that these things are custom made. I'm going to put this entire build on the workshop too afterwards. I made especially sure to have it all on the same group. Traditionally on the channel, I have been absolutely terrible at doing this. I always forget to add things to the group when I'm building because I just get into a groove and don't really think about what I'm doing, I just have the build in mind. But one goal I have in this zoo, besides making the best zoo I possibly can for you guys, is to make sure everything I build is at least a part of one group. That way, every single thing I make can be on the workshop and we can all enjoy it together if you think it's good enough. Being on Sandbox mode, there's absolutely no excuse to not go all out on your builds. That's kind of the main theme of this zoo. It doesn't have a specific theme like the Center of Primate Conservation focusing on primates or the H2O zone being specifically on eco-friendly and water-based animals. No, this zoo is going to be a very generalist zoo. Think about the zoo that's likely closest to you. Mine is the Columbus Zoo. It has animals from Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Australia, every corner of the world. That's exactly what we're going to be doing in this zoo. I want to make this as absolutely realistic as possible. And I've worked at several zoos, and I work in sales now, so I go to zoos all the time and see behind the scenes details of them that you might not notice. I want to incorporate as many of those little details as I possibly can. For example, right here at the front of the zoo, you might not necessarily know it in franchise mode, but I'm going to make a mock security room that has a lot of cameras. It might not be the most functional thing ever, but it's realistic to how an actual zoo operates, and that's going to be what sets this series apart from other ones that are very similar by YouTubers with a lot more subscribers than I have. We're going to take this series slow. One pitfall I always end up falling into in franchise mode is that I build too big of exhibits too quickly and don't really know where to take this zoo after that. We're going to take this zoo at a very slow pace in comparison. One goal that I have for the zoo, and kind of my builds in general, is I want every single build that I make in this zoo to be able to be somebody's favorite. I want somebody to look at this zoo and be like, man, I really want to have that entrance on the workshop. I gotta download that. And then I won't let you down this time and actually upload things to the workshop, I promise. I made a community post addressing it also. If you didn't see that, I'll give it a quick recap. In summary, the franchise mode series, the H2O zone, isn't going anywhere, and we're likely going to be making a brand new zoo for franchise mode on July 31st when the new DLCs come out, the Grasslands in Africa pack. Trying to grow a YouTube channel is extremely difficult, and dealing with burnout is a very real thing. I get a little bit burned out when I don't necessarily want to record franchise mode. Say I want to make an exhibit for an animal that has no place in the H2O zone. I can't really do that. This zoo will be able to give me options that I can make an exhibit for pretty much whatever I want here if it fits the theme. Basically, I want to be able to produce better content. And better content means I can't get burnt out. And only doing one zoo non-stop got me a little burnt out, I'm not gonna lie. I still thoroughly enjoy the game, and I'd hate to let any of you down, but I have to do content that makes all of us happy, because if my heart's not in it, the videos are going to dip in quality. So this zoo is going to be a great way to alleviate that. The franchise mode zoo isn't going anywhere, I just want to have 2 projects I can work on at once. In case I'm not finding the motivation to work on one, I can simply go to the other and upload a quality video all the same. I hope you guys like that decision. Sandbox mode is really nostalgic to me because it takes me back to my childhood when I used to play Zoo Tycoon 2. I have so many memories of hiding my Nintendo DS under my pillow. My mom would come to check if I was asleep, and obviously you do what a kid does and shut off the screen, hide it under your pillow, and fake snore for a little bit. It worked. There's something about Sandbox mode in particular that just takes me back to those days. It's really relaxing, not having to worry about a budget, or protesters, or anything coming to attack your zoo. In Minecraft, everybody wants to play creative mode every once in a while. Nobody wants to have the threat of being blown up by a creeper every 5 minutes as soon as you leave your house. Sometimes you want to sit back, not have a budget, and relax. Maybe throw on a podcast in the background, and just have some fun while you build a great quality exhibit. That being said, the quality of these exhibits is going to explode. As you guys saw in the thumbnail, this entrance turned out incredibly nice. Personally, I think it's the best thing that I've built in this game yet. I'm going for an extremely realistic look. I'm taking inspiration from pictures from various zoos and mashing together all of the best parts I can find from the coolest entrances I can find across the country. This zoo is going to be awesome. The video formats are going to remain relatively similar. Probably not even relatively similar, they're going to be the exact same. The video is likely going to start off with an intro, recapping the last few things we've done in the recent episodes. Then we're going to get into an exhibit, probably do a speed build, maybe a time lapse, talk about exactly how I'm doing it, talk about facts about the animal of the day, and then we'll end the video. It'll be extremely similar. If you enjoy the franchise mode videos, this will be even better. Enough of a series overview though. If you've been watching, you're probably curious as to what I'm doing. Basically, this is going to be a giant gift shop, right at the start of the zoo. Our zoo is going to have two gift shops, one huge one right in the center of the zoo, or maybe backed by our most iconic animal, probably an elephant, maybe a hippo or a rhino, but this is going to be a little one that guests are going to want to hit as soon as they enter or leave the zoo. I took heavy inspiration from the Akron Zoo for this in Northeast Ohio. It's the zoo that's personally closest to me right now, where I go to college. I'm using a flat roof design with heavy layering. Layering is basically when you use one material as a base and put a second material on the outside to do one of two things, or both at the same time potentially, which is actually what we're doing. It can either add depth, which makes a build genuinely look better and not look just like a flat facade. That's what windows do, that's what little details like air conditioning units do, wood planks, and it also breaks up the color palette. Right now what we're doing is we're trying to find a separate color to throw on the outside of the limestone that we used for the flat roof. I wasn't really sure what material to use. Originally I wanted to go with metal, I wanted to go with some wood, but eventually I chose a really nice trim that I liked. And matter of fact, I actually added 2 layers on top of this. I added gutters later on in the video over top this to add even more depth, because they kick out on the top even further than this small plank of wood does. Adding layering and depth is a crucial aspect to make your builds go from about 100 to 1,000. I always say in franchise mode, don't cut yourself short. If there's a detail that you leave out on purpose because you don't feel like adding it, maybe you're tired, maybe you're just feeling lazy, only you know about that detail, and it might just sit in the back of your mind bothering you. So try to avoid that from happening in the first place. For example, I didn't necessarily have to add that trim around the back where not many people are going to see it, especially you guys, because I could just cut it out of the video and you would have been none the wiser. But it's going to bother me personally. In franchise mode, realistically you have the excuse as to it doesn't matter, it's all about profits and making your guests happy, but on Sandbox mode, it's about making yourself happy. This is the creative mode of Planet Zoo. You can build absolutely anything you want until your heart's content, so don't cut yourself short by being lazy. If you have a detail you don't necessarily want to add right now, come back to it later. Now we're going to get into another example of layering. I wanted to add wood planks to break up the vertical slabs that we used in this build, so right now I'm adding these ones that go across the entire build, and I'm purposefully leaving a small gap in between them. We'll come back to that later, but another tip that admittedly took me way too long to figure out is things in Planet Zoo are typically measured in 4 or 8 meters. This is because an average block of that limestone like we used on the grid takes 4 by 4 meters. That means you can effectively do some math and calculate exactly how big your build is going to be if you put in some effort. For example, those 4 meter square limestone things that we use, I don't really know what they're called off the top of my head, but we're using them right now in the video, those would cover exactly one of the 4-meter planks that we used. So if you have 4 of them, you can cover the entire thing. It's just simple numbers like that. If you're good with numbers and geometry, this game legitimately becomes easier. Another thing I want to stress in this zoo is community engagement. In our franchise mode zoos, the comment section is active. We're getting upwards of 50 comments per video, and I couldn't be happier with it. However, this Sandbox zoo, I really want to stretch your creative legs. What do you want this zoo to be called? What animal do you want to see first? Any specific themes you want us to add? Maybe add a river with a boat tour going through the zoo that has an underwater tunnel of a hippopotamus enclosure. Any idea you ever have, put it in the comments and I promise I'll respond. In a recent update in Planet Zoo Console Edition, I'm assuming the PCs had this for a long time, we actually got the ability to make custom modular gift shops, so I figured I'd try that out in this very first episode of Sandbox mode. I really have to get used to not saying franchise mode. That took me probably 4 takes. It's just muscle memory at this point. But anyways, these gift shops are really interesting because you can lay them out exactly however you want. This one isn't necessarily functional yet because, spoiler alert, we don't finish it in this video. You have to build this off of the other type of gift shop, which is kind of like the large base of it. I know it's a little confusing, but right now, we're effectively just getting it ready to do that. We don't necessarily finish the build in this video because we leave the back wide open because I have much bigger plans for this zoo entrance. It's not just going to be a couple turnstiles and half a gift shop. We're going to have a restaurant module in here, maybe a few exhibit animals, although that's unlikely. We'll probably do a reptile enclosure of some sort right at the start. Maybe flamingos, whatever a good starter animal would be. Maybe even lemurs or something. I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it yet. But this gift shop right at the front of the zoo is going to be clutch. I always stress the importance of a good first impression, and the very first thing you see in this zoo, besides the entrance, is the gift shop. It's also the very last thing you would see in this zoo, since this is where the exit also is. So whether you're coming in or out of the zoo, you're going to have to see this gift shop and the entrance twice. That's why this episode, and this series for matter, takes so long to come out. I'm going to try to put so much effort into every little nook and cranny of this zoo, the complexity meter is going to be my greatest enemy for the first time since March 26th when I downloaded this game. In general, gift shops are extremely easy to set up. Effectively, you need 3 things. 1, the floor, which is where the gift shop module branches off from, and it allows guests to walk on it. You can't just place a gift shop in the middle of a regular path. You have to use the special floor, to my knowledge. Secondly, you're going to need cash registers, which automatically come with staff to work them. And third of all, you're going to need these little things, which you can get from the menu of the gift shop. There's small little end caps, there's big shelves, little shelves, and every single one of them has a menu of its own where you can put specific items in it. For example, that poster holder right there, you can either put posters or umbrellas. This shelf, you got t-shirts or hats. You can get plushies here, purses here, puzzles here, more plushies, hats, pretty much whatever you want. You can deck this out in a lot of different ways. These truly are modular, which is one of my favorite things about this game. There's so many different ways you can customize anything. Nobody has ever made a gift shop just like this. This is unique to me and me alone. Now, if you want to download it on the workshop, I don't need credit. There's no glory in that. But I think it's cool. I'm going to let the time-lapse play out. Long story short, work has been really heavy lately. I have a few other things going on in my life. Nothing bad, I promise. Just really busy with various things. So these videos have been a little bit slower to come out lately. And for that, I truly do apologize. Sometimes, sadly, life comes first. And realistically, we're not making much money off of YouTube yet, so I can't really support myself with this. Skip to the end of the video if you want to see the final build though. It turned out really nice. I'm a huge fan of it. It's really sleek, and we'll talk more about it later. I was also 100% serious earlier about commenting any crazy request or realistic thing you want me to add in this zoo. I'd love to hear your feedback. And if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you at the end of the video. I am so happy with how this turned out. Easily my best work yet, and it's not even finished. The gift shop turned out incredibly well. We have so many toys and little treats for the kids to play with. I think it turned out really nice. Our staff is also happy, even though they haven't moved yet, and they're not 100% happy. I don't really know why. Quite bizarre. We'll give you guys a staff room and a water fountain soon, I promise. Just don't call HR yet. We even got you a security camera. It has a view of the entire zoo, so far, which is pretty much just this one building. We also... that was creepy. I thought the time was still paused. Go off, I guess. This gift shop is under maximum security. That guy will never let anything happen. We also have a camera right over our entrance, too. We'll add one to the other side later, but between you and me it would have ruined the thumbnail, so I didn't add it in this video, but we'll add it in the intro of the next one. Overall, very happy with how this turned out. Extremely well done, in my opinion. I hope you guys agree. Like I said a lot during this video, I am so excited to start this new franchise mode series. I did it again. I'm gonna leave that in the video, because I've screwed up so many times saying franchise mode, it's muscle memory. I am so excited to start this new Sandbox mode series. I can't really wait to do it. I just want to play, build, build. But unfortunately, you gotta upload videos too if you're doing YouTube. So I guess I gotta get back to it. See you guys in the next episode, officially episode 1. Kingpin out. See you then. Hope you guys enjoyed.